Good evening, ladies. I hope you had a great weekend, and here we are in our weekly training. I'm just going to make sure that I'm live and you can see me and I can see you. There we go. Okay, perfect. Then I'll be able to see your comments. If you're watching, please say hi just so I can see that I know everything is good. Hi, Amandeep. Of course, as we go through this training, please feel free to ask me questions. And we'll talk about branding today and what really branding is, or all the components of branding, because very often, people think that branding is just the logo or just the colors you pick, and it's not really it. Yes, it's one part, but there is a few more things behind it. And I want to, get you aware about this and kind of talk through how you can approach this depending on where you are in your business. So as everybody's joining, hi Gina, hi Sandra, Jennifer, Yolanda, welcome. I'm just going to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me or might be new to the group. My name is Maggie Perrotten. I'm a business and leadership coach. I help women entrepreneurs grow their businesses without overwhelm. And how do I do it? It's, very often we actually know what to do to grow our businesses, but it's very hard to figure out how to do it or how to put all the components together. So we have a authentic business that we, market it the way we want to market and so on. So that missing components, trying to put everything together in the right order with the right focus, I help you with that. Hi, Laura, welcome. Thanks for joining. Hi, Shanella. Awesome. Everybody's here. Amazing. So today about branding, we're going to talk about why it's important to have all the aspects of branding aligned and kind of what are those aspects. Because if they're not aligned, of course, you're losing clients along the way. And we'll talk about it why in a second. And when you have them aligned, you definitely attract more clients. So let's start with why, what happens if you don't have clarity and alignment in your branding. So there is just a few examples here. I'm sure there's more, but we're going to keep it simple today. So, your audience gets confused. And for example, I will use some examples of big brands just to illustrate those things. So for example, think about Tiffany's, right? Tiffany's is jewelry, and their recent thing is they want to redefine what love means in special moments, but they're also sustainable luxury. So that's the brand that they want to portray. So of course, if you're talking about luxury and so on, you probably, if you go to Tiffany's and so on, you're not going to see sign of sale and flash this and we're cheap and we're this and we're that, right? Luxury doesn't align with cheap or sales or bonuses and so on. Now, on the other hand, if you go to, so you would be confused. So let's say, you're going to buy a jewelry for whatever, for your mom, let's say, or for your daughter getting married, or whatever the case might be, and you want it to be luxurious jewelry and so on. You wouldn't go to Tiffany looking for a bargain or spend $10 on a jewelry, on a necklace or whatever you're buying, right? Your expectation is that it's going to be expensive, but at the same time, there will be quality, luxury around it and so on, in everything from the beginning to an end. Right? On the other hand, you have Walmart, who their brand and all they want to portray is that they offer day-to-day things for their clients on the lowest prices possible. And how they brand that is that, they want you to feel like you're a smart consumer, like you're a smart shopper, meaning you're not spending or overspending on things that we day-to-day needs that we have, and they deliver similar quality maybe to other stores, but the lowest prices. So when you go on their website and how they make their decisions in their business and so on, it's all about, lowest price and bonuses and so on. But there's also the whole organization behind, the stores, how the business functions to be able to deliver it. Okay, so now if you went to Walmart and you saw, some signs for luxury, I don't know, jewelry or luxury something, then you would be confused, right? Because your expectation of Walmart is to actually deliver the lowest prices possible. So that's kind of what happens, right? If you don't have alignment in different aspects of branding, your audience gets confused, and they're you're not attracting them because they get confused and they leave. And we're talking here about your marketing and online and how you get visible in the business. So then the second thing, and that's more of an internal and for you, how you make decisions in the business, it creates the lack of focus and the shiny object syndrome. Because if you're not clear on what you represent, who do you want to attract, how you're going to attract them, and what is your mission, and we'll talk about it in a second, then it's easy to fall into the newest, most popular something. So for example, you're a service provider and high ticket clients, this is popular. But then at first you were thinking that maybe you want to have high ticket clients, maybe you will be selling something more affordable and so on. And you get confused, you're like, okay, well, high ticket clients, or the other way around. At first you were thinking that you attract high ticket clients, but now the most popular thing is have a low ticket offered, and you switch and so on. And so without clarity on who you are as a brand, it's easy to get confused. It's easy to get overwhelmed by all the choices in the products you can create or offers you can create and the pricing and all that. So when you're clear on that, it's much easier to say, you know what, it's great that low ticket, offers are popular, but this is not me, right? I want to attract clients who, and I'm going to talk about maybe coaching, who want to invest in the coach and, long term, they understand the value of it and so on and so forth. Or, if you're a designer, and let's say website designer, and you're thinking about attracting photographers for the weddings, but photographers who want to scale and want to go, maybe start making 6 or 7 figures, then if you started offering them things for very little price, they would be that, that it would be you would confusing the audience. And then that means you don't have focus, right? If you're going into low ticket offering, and at the same time, you're trying to attract people who want to make 6 figures, 7 figures in their business. So then what happens also is you're missing on the right opportunities, right? So you might be going into a shiny object syndrome, not being sure and not keeping your eyes open on the opportunities that actually align with your business. And the best example is, I read a book, it was, oh my God, I forget now. I forget the title of the book, but it's a book written by the former CEO of Girl Scouts. And she's very like she is, one of the gurus of leadership and servant leadership and so on. Frances, and the name escapes me now. Anyhow, so she was saying that it's the same, in Girl Scouts, they had their mission and their vision. They were very clear what they want to represent with the brand, Girl Scouts brand. And there were many times when she was saying no to the opportunities that didn't align with what the Girl Scouts were representing, even though they were very lucrative. She was saying no to sometimes millions of dollars on endorsements and so on. So they keep open and saying yes to the right opportunities. And in that book, and it's been a while, so I just came up with this example, so I would have to go back to say that, yes, she says no to, $1 million opportunity, but that allowed them to work on projects and so on that were aligned with the brand. And then in the long run, it created a much more powerful brand, much more funding brought in and so on. And then the fourth sort of, downside of not being clear on the branding is your poor marketing results. And that's, that's of course is connected to all that. Your audience gets confused, so they might not follow you in the long term because, they see one day you're offering high ticket, the next month you're offering low ticket, and maybe it's not connected. It doesn't make sense to them, so they get confused. So you lose them along the way, right? So, or you might not see they're not even staying to kind of get to know you and so on. So that marketing, you're not seeing the results of your marketing. And what I want to mention about marketing is that marketing is not sales. Okay, marketing allows you to get visible to your ideal client, tell them, hey, I'm here, this is what I stand for, this I do understand you, and this is how I help you, and then start the relationship. It really just opens the relationship, and then slowly, right, the customer starts on your journey, and you slowly through marketing build that, know, like, and trust factor. And then when they become your audience, maybe they sign up to your email list, they join your group, or whatever case might be, then you're slowly turning them into clients or customers. Okay, so when you're not aligned, that your marketing, definitely you're losing on that efficiency or effectiveness on marketing. Okay. Is it okay to have low ticket services and move up according to the program client choose? Yes. So it's not about, it's not about not having certain offering and certain price point, but so for example, if you're, what I'm going to say, if let's say, for example, Audi and Chevrolet, right? Audi, high ticket or more luxurious brand of the cars, and Chevrolet more day-to-day for people who maybe don't want Audi, they can afford Audi and so on. So within Audi, right, you have low ticket cars and high end. However, the low ticket car in Audi is still more expensive, and I don't know the prices that might be than even the most expensive car in Chevrolet, right? So they still have lower, so they have a range of products from basic cars that cost, I don't know, $60,000, $70,000 to the ones that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, whether Chevrolet will have half of it, right? Their cheapest car might be half of it or even 1/3 of it. And the most expensive might be nowhere near, maybe half range of Audi, right? So there might be a bit of overlap, but not much. So yes, it doesn't mean that you don't have lower ticket. It just depends on, again, if you want to attract more affluent audience, you can't offer them things for $2 because they will not value that, and they won't think it's worth the quality. So there's an example, a story that I heard, I think on one of the podcasts I listened, I don't remember, where there was a speaker who was speaking at an event. They were fairly new, that person, so they weren't sure yet. Maybe again, they didn't have maybe the confidence and so on. And they were speaking, and they were really good. So after the event that they had, a CEO of a company approached them and said, hey, I would like to hire you to speak in our event. And of course, that was pre-COVID. So they met, and when they talked through, the offer and so on, and when that speaker said the price, the CEO said, well, we only hire professionals. You're too low, like that, meaning you're probably not good because you're pricing yourself so low that it doesn't show that you're a professional. and the speaker lost the deal. Okay, so being too cheap in a way, it's not necessarily good if your brand, or if what you stand for in your brand, the value of your brand, you want to perceive like you're not even a higher end brand, but maybe somewhere in the middle of the market brand, right? Now, if on the other hand, if you're a brand that, and there's nothing wrong with it, it's just different, you choose different strategies in how you price your business and what you do to market and so on. So if you're a Walmart, or if you're a brand that wants to attract clients who really value deals and so on and so forth, then yeah, you can be pricing your lowest ticket offer at $1,000, right? There's people who have low ticket offers at $1,000, and there's people who have low ticket offers at $9.99, right? So yes, you can have different products, but the way you price it needs to align with what you want to portray in the brand and the clients you want to attract. Okay, so let's talk the components. I'm going to try to take that without ripping. There we go. Off the brand. Okay, so there is a root and there is a foundation. As you see the tree, I like nature, so I try to combine it in a tree. There is the foundation, something that grows and evolves rather than changes completely with you. So kind of like a tree, right? Like when it's small, it has roots, and then it has a stem and it's thin. But as the tree grows, it doesn't lose the stem, it just grows up and evolves, and the same with the roots, right? And there's things, the foliage, let's say, that can change down the road. So there's seasons, right? And then year over year, we lose foliage, comes back and so on. That can change. It doesn't have to be every year. So don't take the tree very literally. It doesn't have to be every year. But as your brand evolves, you can decide to change those things, radically, kind of rebrand. So like when you hear about rebranding, usually that's what changes. So we'll talk from the bottom to top. So your root system and your foundation and that stem that holds you is, for example, the first thing is your story, meaning who you are, right? How you started your business. So your why for the business comes from your story. Like we all have a story behind why we started a business, but also behind our person and what we represent, right? Amandeep, you and I, as coaches, or Shanella, as coaches, will have a certain style of coaching, we'll believe in certain things and things that come from, our experience, our upbringing, our story, right? So of course, you want to have a story. It's not about sharing every single detail from your life and things that you don't want to share, but it's about having a cohesive story that of course is unique to you. It's really truthful, that relates to your business, that you can connect with your audience. So again, they get to know you, right? Then there is your why for your business, so why you started. And I always say that there's an external why and there's an internal why, right? So there's an external why where we want to help people. We love what we do. We somehow, we want to empower people by what we do and so on. And then the internal why is, we want to have freedom of time or financial freedom. We want to be our own bosses and so on and so forth, right? We want to travel. So this is our internal why. That is also connected to our values. So again, the values we represent in our business should come from our personal values. They should be aligned. And I actually have a free training for anybody who wants on your personal values and mission in your business, personal, and kind of bringing that into the business. Because it's really important to, you're starting your business. We all start our businesses because we want to make the decisions, right? And we want to be our bosses, and we want to bear the consequences of our decisions and so on. So having a compass on how to make those decisions all starts with our values. So, for example, my business, I brought 3 core values that were always important to me in my personal life into the business. The first one is simplicity, right? I don't like complicated. I like simple in my personal life always, but also in the business. I don't believe that complex solutions are good. They're confusing. They're hard to understand at the best of times. And then when life happens, when it always happens, it's like almost impossible, right? When you have a complex marketing plan or 60 pages business plan, like how are you ever going to implement it? It's not possible. That's why in the army, and Shonella probably knows that, right? The battle plans are simple. They have to be simple because in the battle, in the heat of the moment, nobody will remember anything that's very complicated. And I want to help my clients in simple ways and train and coach them in simple ways. So it's very, understandable for them, and they can easily, implement things and get results. So that's simplicity. The second one of my values is courage. And it comes from me always wanting to remember that the best decisions in my life that I made that really changed my life in a positive way were super scary. And I had to have courage. And I want to remember that because in day to day, sometimes we forget. And I also want to help my clients to find that courage within because we all have them. And then the third one is excellence. And I picked that for me because I love growth and I love learning. And excellence fosters that. Excellence is doing the best you can with what you know now and what you have. And then once you learn better, you do better, as opposed to perfectionism that is very paralyzing and limiting because we're waiting to be perfect. So we never learn. And we can be perfect because we're human, right? And we're not perfect. So those are my values, but something to think about. What are your values in your personal life? How can you group them? And what are the core, you can have more than 3, but I like simple, so don't go too much. Something that, you will reflect in your business. So for example, whenever you think about certain decisions that you have in your business, they can guide you. So for example, my offerings, they're simple. I have 2 offers. I don't have a million different offers. I keep it simple, right? That's just an example. So then the last component of that stem or and the root system is your mission or the movement you want to start. So mission is, who you're helping, how you're helping, what is your business all about? What are you trying to achieve with your business, right? If you're starting a movement by empowering people, empowering maybe people to lose weight and live healthier, right? Shonella is empowering homeless to get out of it and live better lives, right? Amandeep is empowering people to not be scared about the money and be more, understand money better and manage it. I want to empower women to be their own bosses and gain the freedoms they want to gain through their businesses, right? So you need to think about what is it that you're, trying to achieve with your business. Who are you helping? Make it more. Okay. So as I said, like those things, they will not change per se. They will evolve. Your story will evolve because, of course, we're all young, we're all beautiful, we'll still live very long, right? So as we live and add to our experience, we add to our story. So the story will evolve. Certain whys will evolve too, right? Why we do certain things when we're 20 are very different, and we don't have kids and we don't have all kinds of things, right? Our attachments are different to why we do certain things, maybe when we have a family and kids and so on. So it's okay, we grow as human beings, so that grows, right? It grows, becomes bigger tree. Okay, so now the foliage is three parts. It's a visual branding, verbal part, and the value. And here it's kind of your offer and the pricing and so on. So your visual is exactly that. It's the logo, it's the colors that you have, right? It's the pictures. So we're all here marketing our businesses online. So the pictures and kind of what you portray and so on. But all of this comes from this. And if you don't have this, it will be very hard to decide and pick. So let's say you will go to Laura, who is a designer, and say, I want a logo or I want a website. And Laura will start asking you, okay, well, who is your client? What do you want to portray? What are your words that describe you? And those words could be your values. So she has an idea and start having an, inspiration from you, because otherwise, what is she going to work with, right? Or she will, if you don't know that, your designer might not deliver the product or what you want because you cannot convey it to them. And I actually, it's a real example. I have a client who's a designer, and right now is working with a client who's not clear on that, and she can't decide. She can't finalize almost the project because the client is, not very decisive about this, and it's, most likely because she doesn't know what she represents here. So then the verbal branding is the words, of course, that you use, the words that you use in your copy, on your website, in your content, and so on. And so, for example, I will give you a bunch of examples, but for example, myself, I don't like Boss Babe, okay? Like the thing. And it's, Boss Babe, it's a super famous phrase right now, hashtag and so on, but I don't use it because it's not something that aligns with me. I don't think we as women are babes. I think we're women, we're ladies, we're, that's what I think, right? But that's me. And there's nothing wrong with people using other words, but there will be certain words that if your brand doesn't align with it, you almost shouldn't be using. Okay, so like there's big brands like I'm sure Coca-Cola and so on that do have actually vocabulary of the words they do not use. Like for example, maybe discounts and bonus and so on in those high-end brands. So when they hire copywriters and they hire things, they give them glossary saying, don't use these words. No matter how popular they are, no matter how useful they might seem, they don't use. So it's important to think about the language or what you write in your copy, how you project yourself. Excuse me, because that might be also where the confusion of your potential client is. Laura, this is really true. It's tough to do good design if you don't know these things. Exactly. So then, when you know, the collaboration is much easier. So I'm sure Audi doesn't use maybe I'm not sure, I haven't checked, but I'm thinking that Audi doesn't use cheap, right? Or we have cheap cars or affordable. That's not their thing, right? They want to evoke luxury and this elitism and so on, right? And there are certain words they don't use. So, so that's your verbal branding, thinking about, how you speak to your audience through any medium that you market your brand. And then value is the pricing that we talked about and the value of the offer. So again, you can have different tiers in your offers, right? You can have a lower price offer and a medium price and a higher price. It's just where that starts and how you price depends on the brand you want to project, the customers you want to align, and so on. So again, and that also makes the decision. So for example, if you wanted to right off the bat attract very high-end clients, very affluent clients, and so on, then you need to make sure that you invest in the website that is, done by a professional designer, that you're not trying to use a template or do it yourself, because it will show. And then that affluent client will come, it's like, well, they want, I don't know, $10,000 for their offer or $100,000 for their offer, but the website looks like they paid 500 or less, right? But when you are just, for example, you're attracting like middle market or less affluent clients or kind of regular clients, right? Not millionaires, not so on, then you don't necessarily need to spend that much money on your website, right? You can hire a designer to do it for you, but you don't maybe need to go to the designer that is like super known and charges, $10,000 for a website. You might want to pay $2,000 for a website, or you might do it yourself, or whatever the case might be. Right? So again, it depends. So as you see, when you sort of know those things, it allows you to make decisions. Now, what I want to say is that you don't need to have it all kind of figured out at the level of maybe a person you're following in your industry. So again, I'll look at Marie Forleo, who is like a business coach, right? I'm sure everybody knows her. So of course she has, the website, even though she markets, she doesn't necessarily market. Her market is not, billionaires, more people, who are starting their business or who are maybe more advanced in their business and so on. So, but she has a personal brand that is that brand that shows, listen, like if you stay in your business and you do, this is what you can achieve, right? So there's an aspirational brand. And of course, because she's a millionaire, she shows you can get there. She has the resources, she has the team to deliver, to have a beautiful website and so on and so forth. But for example, she doesn't coach one-on-one, right? So you can't hire Marie Forleo to be a one-on-one coach. You can buy her programs and so on, as opposed to somebody who is just starting and so on. So all I want to say is that when you think about and want to go through those steps, those decisions here can be very simple if you're just starting. As you grow your business, and yes, you have more resources and becomes a little bit more complex and so on, then you can kind of build that tree and make it a bigger oak. But when you're just starting and you're like small little things, those decisions can be simple. Maybe your story, it doesn't have to take you a month to figure out what you're going to share. Just pick a few things and start doing, right? Your why, your values is the same. Like the free course that I have is like, I think 3 to 4 videos, 15 minutes. So you can do it in an hour. So all I'm going to say is, don't take this and now try to spend 6 months figuring it out and not taking action in your business because, Maggie said I need to have like all that and not try to, attract clients and so on. This is a work in progress. You can start this within a day. You can have it figured out in the beginning and then grow that as you grow your business, attract clients, make more income, and then you become clearer and clearer and clearer on your brand. And maybe one day you'll be like, yeah, okay, I've done this for the past 2 years. I need change. I'm seeing, my clients are going there, or I just need, I'm drawn to this, and then you change certain things. Okay. So that's one disclaimer that I definitely, again, simplicity is number one. for me. So you want to keep it simple and you want to keep it adapted to where you are in your business. So you don't want to make it too complex when you're just starting. Um, Samantha, you're asking if there will be a replay. Yes, yes, I'll keep it in the group. So I wanted to ask if there's any, if you ladies have any questions. There are some good questions here today that we answered, but do you have any other questions? I want to say that if you do, and maybe they will come later, or maybe if you watch a replay, you know, the video will be in the group, so you're free to watch as many times as you would like to. Let me know. And of course, this is something, how important it is to have a website. I would say if, you know, there is, in the beginning, it's not that important. Like if you really, so what I would say is, if you grow the relationships through networking and meeting people one-on-one and really just growing relationships and so on, it's okay. You don't have to have a website. You can have a simple one, or you can just have Google one or whatever. You don't. Now, the moment you start marketing online and wanting to attract people and do that attraction marketing, you should have something, because people will check you out, right? So they don't know you, they haven't talked to you one-on-one, they don't know maybe your story or anything. So as you start, you know, going, it's good to have something. It doesn't have to be, you know, you want it to be clean and polished and basic, but it doesn't have to be anything, you know, again, anything high end, unless you want to attract millionaires. Then yes, you do. Right? If you want to attract people who have that luxury type of brand, then you need to invest in your website, and you need to invest in your branding and in those things, because when your potential client will check you, it needs to match their expectation. And if you're a luxury brand, they will want to attach that. They will want to, their expectation is, you know, you need to have a luxury website or a luxury looking website. Laura, what if you find you change your mind a lot? Do you know, I do know my values, but sometimes the vibe I'm going for changes. The customer that feels like a good fit changes. Yeah, so that's okay, Laura. Like for values, I really mean core values. It doesn't mean that you can't add certain things. All the businesses evolve. So even me, I have the 3 core values. I might, as my business grow, add a couple more and say, okay, now it's also that important to me and that. And it's the same even with your ideal clients. If you change, if you decide, you know, I want to attract ideal clients, then you might need to change this, right? That foliage. So let's say fall happens, right? You're growing in your business, you bloomed and you've had all the flowers. And now you're thinking, well, you know, I want to change that. I want to start attracting new clients. It's almost like, okay, time to shed that foliage and grow a new one. So then you will need to adjust your visual, your verbal, maybe, right? And the value, the pricing, and the offering. And that's when you go through sort of rebranding, right? So you're rebranding your website, you're changing the copy, you're changing your offers and so on. But your story is not going to change other than just grow with you, right? Your why, like your deep down why, not why you're doing this. Again, you might just add to that your values, you can expand them. Your mission also might change a little bit, but when you establish a mission of your business, and again, I have that in the training, I can send it to you, Laura, if you want to. It should be very aspirational. It's almost like, and I think like Disney's mission, and I have a bad memory. I have to go again. But for example, Disney Mission, I think it's like dream. It's a place where dream come true, right? So it's so high level that even if Disney wanted to change a little bit, it wouldn't impact them that much, right? So let's just say if your mission is empower. So let's say my mission is empower women to grow their businesses so they can have what they want, right? They can get their why. Even if one day I decided to not do one-on-one coaching or the group coaching the way I'm doing, and I want to go somewhere else or just do like, I don't know, online courses only without support and so on, which I don't have right now and I'm not planning for now. But even if I wanted to, I can still keep the same mission. How I do it changes, but the outcome is still the same, or the result, the impact I want to have. So mission is more like impact. What kind of impact you want to have? So I hope that makes sense. How do you market to people that don't really have money to pay for the service, but they're the ones who need the program to change their life, to get out of current situation? Good question, Amandi. So there is a difference between need and want, okay? People need a lot of things, but until they want it, you can't convince them to do it. And whether they have money or they don't, you're not, it's a Sisyphal battle almost, like I think it's Greek mythology or Roman mythology, and I'm going to butcher the name in English. I have no idea how to pronounce it, but there was this guy Sisyph that he did something, and then God punished him, and he was punished him in a way where he was pushing a huge rock up the mountain, and every time he went up the mountain, the rock went down, and he had to push it up again. Every time he reached the top of the mountain, the rock fell off. So in Polish, we have this, saying that it's like a work that of Sisyph, that he just goes, it never ends. So you can't really convince people who don't want something to buy or invest in themselves, even if they need it. And then when somebody really wants something, they'll figure out the money most of the time. They will. Okay. Because again, even if somebody doesn't want your services, even if you make it $10, they're not going to buy it because they don't want it. Right. And coaching, the thing with coaching is nobody needs coaching. Nobody needs it. You can go through your life, keep creating the results you're creating, and even if it makes you miserable, you don't need it. What coaching, people want coaching, those people who want coaching is because they understand that they get an edge with it, that they can create the results they want through coaching, and it's an investment that will pay for itself over and over. So think about yourself, Amandeep, about the time maybe where you knew you needed something, but you also wanted it. And have you figured out the money? Like when I look at myself, and, I come, again, like most of you ladies know, I come from Poland, and, I was born in the communist regime. My parents divorced when I was 11. My mom was a teacher. Teachers in Poland, maybe now better, but at that time, didn't make a lot of money at all. We weren't poor. We always had food, and roof over our heads, but not much more, right? I couldn't buy, I don't know, brand clothes after the communist regime, collapsed. It was available and so on. And my friends had it. I didn't. I never did. So, but, for example, when I decided to immigrate to Canada, and you had to had, I don't remember the number, but almost like $20,000 in savings, which I didn't have at the time, I still figured it out. I, started working additional and saving everything, and not buying things that maybe I wanted to, but I wanted Canada. I wanted to move to Canada more. And the thought of being able to, if I got the permanent residency, which I had, was more important than anything else. So even though I wasn't making a lot of money, and with my partner at the time, we still managed to save that money. So when somebody wants something, right, and they know it's valuable for them, they know that the return on investment will be much so, they'll figure out the money. You know, unless, yeah, if you're charging $1 million and they earn, I don't know, 50,000 a year, that might be, you know, out of reach. But if you are charging reasonable price for the market you're trying to attract, people will figure out the money when they need it and want it at the same time. Have to attract people that want the change. Yes, you need to attract the people that want the change, because you cannot convince somebody who doesn't want it. It's not going to happen. They need to come to that conclusion themselves. Or at least start thinking and exploring the change. You're welcome, Laura. You're welcome, Mandeep. Those are great questions. Thank you. Great questions, ladies. All right. So yes, so for example, as far as I'm concerned, I can't help you with that visual. That's Laura. That's, you know, I have a couple of clients who are designers as well. So if you want a website and if you want the visuals, I can help you with that. But I can help you with everything else as far as branding goes. The verbal, the value, the offering, the pricing, all this. I can help you as a business coach and more, but let's just say in the branding realm. But if you want to start, as I said, I have a free training that walks you through just personal values and how you can bring them towards your business, or how you can pick the ones in your business and kind of your mission and vision for your business, how to set it up. It's a quick, I think 4 videos, about 15-20 minutes. So if you're interested, either tag me in the comments and let me know, or PM me. Most of you know how to find me, but you can tag me in the comments and I'll be happy to send it over to you. But for now, for tonight, thank you, ladies. I really appreciate you joining and participating with great questions. And then see you tomorrow for Motivational Monday. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Bye.